Welcome to Key Factors Podcast, where knowledge meets ambition in the fast-paced world of real estate and mortgage. I'm your host, Mark Jones, bringing you the latest insight, trends, and expert advice to navigate this dynamic property market. In each episode, we dive deep into the heart of the industry, dissecting market movement, exploring investment strategies, and unlocking the secret to real estate success. Whether you're a seasoned professional, an aspiring investor, or simply looking to stay ahead of the curve, this is the ultimate guide to making informed decisions in the world of property and real estate. So grab a seat and let's uncover the key factors that make all the difference. Welcome to Key Factors Podcast. Let the journey begin. And welcome back to another episode of Key Factors Podcast. I'm your host, Mark Jones, and we are powered by ReviewMyMortgage.com, the largest index of programs in the nation. And today in this discussion, we're going to be talking about some impractical practices that are taking place in our industry, and maybe we can bring it to a head and bring some light to this situation. And I'm joined by Josue Martin to be able to give us some more insight on this subject. So Josue, what's going on, man?
Just, hanging out, just another beautiful day in San Antonio. It's not hot yet, so I'm enjoying this weather quite a bit.
Amen to that.
I'm actually the most productive in this weather. It's true story. When it gets too hot, I don't want to do anything.
And you know what's funny is Jeff Garza on another discussion just mentioned that same concept is realtors going out to sell houses during the summer in Texas. I mean, It's one of the hottest places to be, especially if you're doing new construction. You're going to the home sites and they're not fully complete. So you're just walking on asphalt with 2x4s everywhere and no AC whatsoever in sight.
Yeah, it's hot.
So the struggle is real in South Texas.
Yeah, it is. And I can complain because I used to do landscaping with my dad since I was like 5.
Okay.
So, I know how to be in the sun. I'm definitely not a baby about it.
Sure.
It's just that, you're in the AC, you get comfortable and you go back outside in the heat. It's rough.
Yeah, no.
And then you're fully suited up.
That's true. If you are one that suits up to go out. That's a good question. And I'll add that to what I'm going to ask later. But if you could, tell us about yourself, man. So how did you get into into the real estate industry?
So I'm in a family of 5.
Okay.
So it's my mom, dad, I have a twin brother, and my sister. And we're originally from Los Angeles.
Okay.
And I'm full Mexican, and in our culture, we're not used to trusting professionals. We're not used to trusting lenders, realtors, all that. Well, when I was 4 years old, we lived in Hawthorne, California, which now it's better, yet at that time was pretty hood.
Right.
Hawthorne, for those who don't know, it's next to Inglewood. Inglewood up's no good. Inglewood, right? 90s was pretty bad.
Yeah.
Look it up. Rodney King riots, all that.
True. So you were living in that area when that stuff was going on?
So we were there.
Wow.
My sister was born in whenever we got foreclosed on. So she was a baby. The realtor said, hey, I got this. Don't worry.
Right.
Got us foreclosed. Said, don't even pay anything. You're good. Got us foreclosed, got the notice, and we had to move to a little back house with the baby sister in Inglewood.
Wow.
And then my parents bought a haunted house in Sylmar, California.
Now, when you say haunted house, what do you mean?
It was haunted. So we didn't know until after. Who knows about disclosures, right?
Right.
After we sold the house to move to Granada Hills,
okay,
the neighbors were like, "How could you live there? Did you guys see anything weird?" And we did see ghosts. I mean, it's just a true story. We saw ghosts.
Okay.
And it was weird kind of vibes, but it was a cool house. It's a house, 4 walls and a roof.
Sure.
And the guy caught his wife cheating on him with some other guy, killed the wife, kill the dude in their bedroom, and then kill the kids. So it was a whole murder thing.
Holy cow.
They never disclosed that. And then when we sold the house, we're already out. Like, we're already packed up, ready to get out.
Yeah.
And then neighbors said that, and we're like, oh yeah, no one told us that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That reminds me of American Horror Stories, that same kind of storyline.
Yeah.
Took place. Wow.
Yeah. So my dad definitely had a type, which is like scary houses,
Okay.
Like, how like in the scary movies, the family's like, wow, what a great deal. And then it's like haunted.
Absolutely.
That's legitimately my dad. A true story. So we ended up living in Sylmar for a few years. Well, Sylmar from Hawthorne is about 35-minute drive, and we're big on family. So we had to move across town. So since I was about 4, we were like, you know what? We don't like realtors. Yet we would use realtors when we moved to Texas in 2005. But no one really like had that like warm feeling like, like Mark's my friend.
Right.
You know, it was never like
He's
that.
looking out for me.
Right. I was like, well, Mark's just doing his job.
Yeah.
Right. So I got into real estate because my godfather, who now lives in Houston, he was like, hey, man, you know, a lot of us want to buy real estate. We don't trust anyone, but we trust you. At that time, I was working at RBFCU for 6 months. Worst time of my life.
What did you do there at RBFCU?
I was a branch manager.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I was not a branch manager. I was a store manager before that at a retail store, and I was a regular teller at the branch.
Okay, gotcha.
And I wanted to be a branch manager because I was used to managing. And they're like, no, you sit right there and you do withdrawals, deposits, transfers. That's it.
No cross-selling.
They wouldn't let me
go through the motions.
They wouldn't let me grow. And the promotions were the ability to override certain check amounts.
Sure.
That's it. So I was like, what the heck? I have this to look forward to? This is terrible. I will die here. There's no way. So what happened there was we had families that, you know, I'm pretty extroverted. I like to have conversations with people.
Sure.
We had a conversation before this started. And how, you know, they'd say, hey, I'm going to buy a house. We go to RBFCU's office, turn the TV on, and then they'll talk to a rep. And they'd always say, can you help me? I legally cannot, or my job says that if I help you, I can get fired.
Right.
And one day I was like, man, this can't be what it's like to buy a house. Like,
Right.
there's no way. And so my uncle told me that, left that idea in my head. So then I said, you know, I'm not really into this kind of stuff. My background's in music and art and fashion, and I like to be doing creative things. Real estate seems boring. This is what I thought back then.
Sure.
So when I went to real estate school, I was like, man, I actually like this. This is actually pretty cool. I like what I'm learning. It lets me kind of work as much as I want to get the results that I want based on what I was being taught in class. So I ended up doing my classes at Sabor, which is a local place here to get lessons.
And was Ernie Guerrero any of your instructor at all?
I don't remember. I just remember one guy, Charlie Rufo. He was my first broker. And I liked the classes. It was really neat. I did all my classes one at a time. I didn't pay for the package because I didn't know if I would like it.
Sure.
So I did it like one class at a time. I met a lot of really cool friends there. And after that, I was like, I think real estate just might be my thing. So I did.
So when you jumped in, you still weren't sure. It was just something that, I mean, what put that in your scope? Was it the fact that you had gone through the experiences with your parents in California and maybe you wanted to change the narrative within your family? Or it was just like, you know what, this is interesting?
I've always been a big fan of people that can lend a hand, even if it's a small hand.
Right.
And when I got married, a lot of my friends were like, are you going to sign a prenup with my wife? And I'm like, no.
I don't have shit yet.
Like, first off, this is going to last forever, for one. And two, and even if it didn't last forever, she deserves absolutely everything because she's one of the reasons that I even got licensed. She made me, I failed my first time taking my test, and it took me 2 years to take it again. I was at T-Mobile, and she made me flashcards, was pushing me to take the test.
Cool.
And she would remind me, like, don't forget why you're doing this, right? It's like my mom's my biggest supporter. Next to my mom is my wife, you know? And I was like, you know what? Like, if they really believe in me, like when I was a kid, my baseball coach believed in me at some point, you know, I should do it and see it all the way through.
Sure.
Because if they believe in me, they see something that I don't. So really, like, I owe it all to my mom and my wife. If it wasn't for them, I'd probably still be, not that it's a bad thing, I'd probably still be at T-Mobile. I love that job, yet I'd probably still be there.
Right. And still wondering each day that passes, what could life look like otherwise?
Right. And true story, when I was at T-Mobile, my friend José Barra will tell you, we used to work together, and they used to always tell me, what are you doing over there, selling a house? Because I would take forever with each client because I never sold you anything. Even today, I don't sell anything. When I teach classes at KW, I always say, if you're going to sell, work for a new builder. Their job is to sell. My job is to connect the dots and help you accomplish your dreams, whatever that is.
Right.
I don't sell. So even at T-Mobile, they gave me sales goals, but I never sold you anything. I would educate you, and then you would tell me what you want.
And you're basically educating them up to the point that it creates a sale. But I like the way that you put that. It's a lot of what we preach here is we're not necessarily selling, even though it is sales.
Right.
We are solving problems.
Right.
We are giving solutions and providing avenues that allow these consumers to accomplish those goals. I like that concept. Yeah. So what year was that you jumped into the business?
2017.
Okay.
Yeah.
2017, and everything was just starting to kind of heat up at that time. It wasn't yet the heyday, so to speak. Once we get to 2020, that's when it was just, holy cow, there's so much business everywhere going crazy. So when you jumped into the industry after your classes and everything like that, were you by yourself as an agent? What was that like going through that growth process?
Yeah, so I ended up so funny story, I mentioned that I failed and took me 2 years to pass,
Sure.
right, for the second time. So when I went to real estate prep for the test prep, I
Mhm.
went to Champions, not
Mhm.
Sabor, and so I'm a big believer in God and my faith and all that stuff, and a big believer in signs, and God was telling me in that moment when I was at that test prep class to go with Scott Maloof,
Okay.
but I ignored the signs. Sitting next to me was Victoria Collins. I didn't know who
Okay.
she was at the time. And I remember her phone lit up and it had the Maloof logo. And I knew Scott because I met him for the first time at T-Mobile.
Okay.
However, I knew of him because at the same time that my band was killing it, so was AJ Hearns. So
Yeah.
people would talk about Maloof International or Maloof Entertainment, and I'm like, who's this Maloof guy? Because I thought I was big, right?
Sure.
So I heard about him, and I met him for the first time at T-Mobile. So I was like, I wonder, I wonder how he's doing. And he's talked about it. I'm pretty sure he's the reason why they changed the rules on how many times you can fail before you gotta go back to class. Because he talks about it. I think he failed like 16 times.
Oh, goodness.
And when
Okay.
I
I
was in
didn't know
real
that.
estate school, I remember people were laughing at him, like, "Oh, here about this guy Scott. He failed this many times, ha ha ha." And they said that, and I was like, I want to be friends with that guy because he never quit.
Yes. I
How many
like
people
that.
quit when they fail 1, 2 times,
You're on the
right?
money. Yes.
So that was one. And then I sat next to Victoria Collins. That was two. And then I got licensed, and I was like, you know what? I want to go with Charlie Rufo because he's at Realty Executives. He's my broker. He's a broker there, and he was my favorite teacher. However, what I want, like my ceiling was so high. I
Sure.
wanted so much out of this career because I went all in,
I like that.
right?
Yeah.
And their pace was a little slower. So I was like, man, this is not going to work out. So I ended up meeting with Scott, and he recruited me into KW, right? Heritage. And I got licensed in May. My first closing wasn't until September, but I was working full time. I'm
Yeah.
there. Like I
Grinding.
was there every day grinding it out, trying to find a client until I got a closing.
Yeah.
So no one's eaten more
Crow.
that
Yeah.
than me. Like
I
I'm a
believe it.
firm believer. So Scott and I had interviewed like we interviewed 3 times
Okay.
to join the team. And the first 2 times I said no to him, which is crazy because at that time he was the man of the hour. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
he's my best friend now. He's like a brother to me. At the time, though, he was like the popular high school kid.
And
And
it's
that's
funny that you mentioned AJ Hearns because I didn't know who he was until Scott called me and asked, "Hey, I've got this guy AJ. He wants to film or record a music video. Can he
uh
use your house?" And I'm like, sure. Like, well, I guess." So they came in, him and his crew, and they recorded the video. What is the name of the song? Tesla,
uh-huh.
White Tesla, something like that.
Uh-huh.
But they recorded that in my downstairs
Nice.
game room, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And he was big. I mean, he was really, really big. Also, a really cool
good
guy.
guy. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
we became good friends. Um, but yeah, so he interviewed me. I said no to him twice, and then finally, like, I just kind of kept bringing it up to my wife. I was at the time I had left KW for a little bit, and I was at another brokerage, like a mom and pop, great people. Again, I just kind of wanted more. I wanted to work with someone that I'm a visionary. I love to like think of things and execute these things and think big.
Right.
I've always been that way since I was a kid, and I was like, I told my wife, and she said, you know, at this point, just ask him to be your boyfriend because all you do is talk about Scott. And I was like, I just feel like this is the right move. And my parents got divorced, and I was left with the job to tell my dad, my sister, and my brother, which was hard, harder after the fact. However, that moment, I was super depressed, sad in my room. My brother had just got married. I told him when he came back from his honeymoon at La Panaderia on Broadway, I was like, he ate the sandwich, and I was like, my parents are getting a divorce. Like, I just didn't know how to tell
Just
him.
dropped it.
Just
Here you
dropped
go.
it.
Yeah.
I told my sister right away, and you know, it was tough. You know, it was tough for everyone. The Dodgers lost the World Series to the Boston Red Sox.
The list goes on and on.
I saw that in person in HD, and it was tough. And I remember I was like down in the slumps, and Scott texted me random, "Hey, are you good?" or something. And there's no way in the world that he would have known this
Sure.
because it had just happened. And I was like, actually, I'm not okay, you know? And I'm not even at KW at this point.
Right.
I was like, I'm not okay. The people I'm around don't seem to care about my well being. They just care about my production.
Right.
And so I texted him. I said, hey, can I talk to Steve Collins? Because talking to him was hard at the time, especially when you're not at KW. It's
Yeah.
pretty hard. He's a family man,
Absolutely.
huge family. And he's like, yeah, I got you. Put us in a group chat. And I mean, my decision right there. I said, you know what? This person, I have absolutely nothing to give this guy, and he's helping me out
Mm-hmm.
in like the worst moment of my life. I want to give him a shot, no matter what that is. And he said, hey, you know, we're going on a team trip to New York. If you want to come with us. I said, no, even though I made my decision, I didn't produce on the team. I don't want to show up and take away from your guys' experience. So I'll sit this one out. And yeah, I started in January.
Says a lot about your character, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, I was just raised by my dad was a great dad. He's a great dad. He taught us to work hard, not to be lazy, and I just felt like that. I didn't earn that right.
Right.
So I don't want to go. So I stayed here. My brother followed me with Move International Group. We started off, and my business tripled
Awesome.
when I joined because I was able to do things that I wasn't taught as a kid, which is leverage.
Yes.
That was not a thing. My dad had a very successful landscaping business in Beverly Hills. We're around that our whole lives. Great clients that gave us a lot of great wisdom. His clients taught us how to swim in the pool. I mean, some of the best people on earth that poured into us when we were kids, and my dad did too. And we just kind of always were his helpers on the weekends. He would maybe have a helper here and there, but he never understood leverage.
Sure.
He did everything himself. So being a control freak and me being like, my brand, my business, me, was stressing me out
Mm-hmm.
to the point where when I learned to leverage out and delegate things, because Scott had taught me that, it bought me back so much time
Absolutely.
to do things with people I want to do. So real estate is, say, for example, like a stressful business, this and that. However, I probably have a lot more time that I want to spend my way because I'm able to leverage, which I never did that as a kid.
And it's funny that you bring that up. I just had Kendra Ray, shout out girl, in here. It was either yesterday or the day before yesterday. And she was asking, number one, how to do more of the content recording, processing, editing, and distribution of it. So I was showing her ways that AI can help her do some pieces of it, but there's one piece that you have to do yourself essentially is recording the content itself. Then we got into another bigger concept of the focus funnel. Have you ever heard of the focus funnel? Okay, so the focus funnel, and it's basically what you're talking about here, is figuring out a way to give you back more time while growing your business at the same time. So the focus funnel says you take all the tasks and things that it takes to run your business, list them out. Then you take all of those tasks individually and you run them through a funnel. And top of the funnel is you're going to delegate. Next is you're going to automate. Then you're going to eliminate. And anything left out of those task lists, that's what you're left to do as you, the person, the producer, the head of the snake, the owner of the business, which that list in itself should be much smaller than when you first started, because now you've put some things over here to delegate, some things over here that can be automated with technology and AI and things of that nature. And then you will come to find that, wait a minute, once I've done that, I don't have to do all of these other things, so you can eliminate them. And then what's left is you. Giving you back the time by way of the focus funnel.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I mean, especially now with having a baby, I love spending time with her. You know, I like
new baby,
actually 7 months.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I love spending time with her. I love spending time with my wife, my brother-in-law. He's like my son. I've been essentially helping raise him since he was like 5. He does a lot of baseball. I love spending time with him, picking him from school, taking him to games, taking interest in what he does. Like, I really love the spare time that I do have. I don't just sit around. I don't even watch TV. Nothing wrong with that. I just like to spend my time doing other things. I've been spending a lot more time with CBC, helping out their kids for the high school Wednesdays and the retreats. So I'm a lot more fulfilled these days with the things that I
giving
do,
back to the community,
than the way I was raised, which is like work, 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 and then maybe you have like a Sunday off, you know?
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. So as you progressed into your career, joining Scott's team, what was the experience like in the volume, the intensity as it turned up? I know now you've delegated things of that nature, but in 2020, everybody was going nuts with business. I'm sure you were as well.
Yeah.
What was that like in managing the time, in handling the deals, and communicating with the customers? know?
That whole period, man, I'm gonna tell you right now, and I tell everyone, I'm very transparent. I'm an open book. Looking back at it, I really hated who I became. I became
That's
like
fair.
this like money monster, just business, business, business. If you can't stick it out, suck it up. I can fix it with money. Um, because there was business everywhere.
Correct.
And I mean, we handled it. I mean, the good thing that in 2020, before it really popped,
Mhm.
we had already gotten our media person, we had already gotten our VAs intact. So we were very busy. Like I'm sure it happened to you, happened to me. People loved me, fired me. Then you had another 5 clients coming in because if I wasn't there right there, they
Right.
found someone else because Bob just got his license, who used to be a whatever.
You're right.
It was a weird time. I mean, we killed it though. We ended up doing a lot of flips because we're like, you know what? If there's no inventory in the market, we're gonna
Let's
create the
create it.
inventory.
Mhm.
It was great. I mean, we made a lot of money, and there was a lot of delegating at that time, and we really did have it ironed out. I don't think that at that time there was ever a moment where I felt like overwhelmed, where I couldn't get to some things. We had our team, like we have a team within a team model.
Okay.
I had Alexis. I definitely overwhelmed her. I also made a lot of really bad moves that were money motivated that I absolutely regret now. It getting slower, how it's gotten, has let me realize and reorganize my life and see what matters more to me.
Sure.
And business is just not it. You know, it was good though. I mean, we did really well, like you did, like everybody else
Yeah.
did very well. It was really weird when I couldn't find properties. I had a family from Virginia that I remember, like the husband was CIA, the wife was a trust fund accountant or something. I mean, really well off.
Mhm.
They're looking for a house up to 2.1, and I couldn't find them anything.
Mm.
That was weird because
Yeah.
now in this market now it's like
Oh,
you
yeah.
find a laundry list of houses.
Yeah.
So I was definitely like the biggest thing probably was when I couldn't, because I like to hunt. When I couldn't find something for people, that was probably the most fascinating thing about the
The
market.
market in itself.
Yeah, yeah, and through that caused me to put, 'cause we're a God family business at that time. It was just business, business, business. I just kind of put everything off to the side,
Mhm.
and I was like, you know what,
Need
babe,
to unplug.
you have the platinum. Go do something,
Yeah.
and that's not how life should go. So it was great.
Yeah.
I definitely saw what I'm capable of.
Mhm.
So I'm like, well, I'm gonna do it again.
So that raises another question or topic in itself, the concept of inventory. Right now, our inventory is still pretty low. I mean, if we were to look up at what the inventory is, let's see if we can look at it. What is the um, San Antonio real estate inventory? Inventory. So there. Okay, so this is January. Current inventory of homes available in San Antonio figures blah 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 blah. Let's see if we can find something that shows how much or how little inventory there actually is. Let's see if this gives us something. Okay, for sales inventory January. Uh, Okay, here we go. New listings, 1,941 new listings entering in January. As opposed, let's see here. No, that doesn't give too much. How, how many months of inventory? In inventory um, is available in San Antonio, right there.
4.3 months.
4.3 months. So we are still, by definition, in a buyer's market, but yet the inventory um, is lacking,
Yeah.
in my opinion, for pre-owned homes and now a little bit of new construction homes
Mhm.
because they want to make sure that they qualify and all that jazz and
Right.
see what's going to happen with the market to continue to build homes. You're good with that. Um, that being the case, myself, other lenders, realtors, we're seeing a big push, and for the past several years, towards new construction.
Right.
Um, And new construction in itself is its own topic that we've discussed on here before. And I believe it's right for the right buyer that is essentially looking to stay long term. They are not wanting to purchase something that may have, um, uh, I don't know, growing pains in it, issues with the home itself, have to
Right.
replace this or that. New home gives them a little bit of encouragement and value that they don't see in a pre-owned home by just the warranty in itself, that peace of mind.
Right.
So with that push that's being made, it's creating this I don't want to say arrogance, but almost a bit of a, I don't know, higher pedestal for most of these builders because they know that the business is coming to them.
Right.
In addition, if that buyer doesn't qualify, there's not a lot of incentive to work harder to get them to qualify because there's additional customers waiting in line right behind them.
Right.
What has your experience been with builders overall? And then we can get into what took place.
Specific.
Yeah.
So I've always been really big, as I said, like off camera. If we have an issue with something, we can just figure it out and be friends afterwards.
Right.
I just had this conversation with Angel. You know, you have an employer where you're like, man, I just can't get along with Bob at work.
Mhm.
And then Bob's actually super cool outside of work.
Sure.
He just has to be a different person at work, right? Their job isn't their personality,
Right.
right? So builders, for the most part, have been awesome to work with. Builder lenders have been awesome to work with. I haven't had really many issues. However, the issues that I have had have caused me to then tell my buyers in the future, hey, I'll take you anywhere, but these are the ones I don't recommend, right?
And here is why.
Here's why.
Yeah.
Like, and it's never going to be, I know the butt of every joke's like, you know, Lennar or whatever, but it's really not just them, you know?
Right.
There's
And you know what? Let's pause right there because, in my opinion, the first blow that was given to Lennar from the actual agents that I have seen within Shift Talk and other groups that I'm in, social media groups, was when they dropped commission to 2%, then to 1% or something like that.
yeah.
And that's when the bashing started.
Right.
And it was almost like, guys, you realize that this NAR ruling has to do with the shit that you guys are bringing up right now.
Yep.
And this is why.
Yep.
I mean, you don't take away my commission, but yet you're literally putting on there that you're steering your customers because it's lower commission.
Yep.
Like, wait a minute.
Yeah. Those are people who are very short-sighted. Or nearsighted. We're far-sighted. Hey, you know
Right.
what? I'm gonna hook you up on this one.
Mhm.
And then maybe in the future you refer me 2, 3, 4. I mean, the way I've always seen it is like this, right? It's if I'm open, honest, and transparent with all my clients, they won't care what I make,
Right.
right? If I make too much, too little, they're gonna say, you know what? He took such good care of me. I gotta find him a friend or a cousin or somebody that can use him because he was awesome. My first Lennar issue had nothing to do with Lennar as a company. It had to do with the Lennar sales rep who tried to take me out of the deal. And my client called me. See, this is the thing. Whenever I have a client,
Mhm.
Mark, they're not just like, even if I just met you, dude, I'm so invested in wanting to get to know you because when we had our realtors growing up, they didn't even know who the decision maker was.
Yeah, that's tough.
Do you know who the decision maker was in our family? I'm gonna give you a hint. Not my mom.
Makes sense.
It was me, my brother, and my sister.
Mhm.
So every time that these realtors were they're showing us these fixer uppers that my dad wanted to see. Also, I'm sure they're all haunted. You know, all those houses. They're my mom, dad, this and that. I'm gonna take you to dinner or whatever. And they would always ask us,
Yeah.
"Hey, what do you guys think?" "Oh, we hate it. Nah, that house is scary."
Right.
And these realtors never knew that.
They didn't pick up on them.
They never
Yeah.
did. So with us now, by the time that our client walks into anywhere,
Mhm.
new build, someone else's open house, they're so in love with us that if anyone tries to separate us,
Right.
they're going to tell me.
And I think that that is a point that rings true in any industry. Now, I will say on the lending side of things, I agree 100% with that. Our industry went through the same thing that you guys did, but the folks that got into the industry during that time never got to learn what it's like to be an advocate for your customer,
Right.
learn your customer, listen to them, ask the right questions that help you get to the solution or the end goal for that customer. They just wanted to go on to the next loan. Okay,
Right.
looking at the credit, looking at the assets, here's your options, on to the next.
Right.
Versus actually listening, understanding what their goals were, and knowing how to communicate with this borrower, not just what to communicate with the borrower.
Right.
If that makes sense.
No, it's true. I mean, that's the way that it should be. That's the way that we've always done it. And our first stint with Lennar was. And the funny thing is that rep now is a realtor. That's a funny part. Yeah, it's funny. And she tried to take me out. Client calls me, and then she's like, "That's not true." He's like, "No, it is true. It is true. Like, you just tried doing it." And I went, and the clients were so unhappy because she quoted, mind you, she's not a lender, but
Right.
she quoted like a lender.
Ah,
Oh, this is your
interest rates.
payment.
Yep.
This is your payment.
Mhm.
Like, and she was like dead set. I know what I'm talking about. I'm the number one, whatever. So they ended up doing the red carpet walkthrough that they do, and then never closed.
Wow.
That is,
And you mentioned something. Those of you out there listening, tuning in, um, Josue just mentioned something that we actually have a discussion with John Hudson that will be coming out next week in regards to lenders and non-lenders quoting interest rates,
Yep.
quoting payments, quoting terms, things of that nature, and being unlicensed, because we want to make sure that everybody is doing it the right way. In addition, when you're out there doing it the wrong way, and the wrong way is repeated too many times, it becomes the truth in the consumer's mind.
right.
And that's just not how we want to do business. We're in this for the long haul. So yeah, back to you. Sorry.
Yeah, no. I have friends who are lenders, and hey, I'll tell them for me.
Yeah.
Hey, can you just educate me real quick? What would this be? And they never give me an answer. They're always, well, it depends, because they're responsible lenders.
Correct.
Well, because A, B, and C. I'm just like, all right.
Yeah. There
You know?
there is no one size fit all. You can't paint a picture with a broad brush, so to speak.
Yeah.
Because everything is individual. It's like a fingerprint or anything else that snowflake.
Yep.
There's no one that is the same.
Mm-hmm.
And when you quote somebody something, they then take it as the gospel. And
Mhm.
then once it comes to the time that they can lock in the rate and it's different, you're now a liar.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's true. So I actually appreciate more. I always tell people the one word I despise saying is depends. I don't
Sure.
like to use that word unless I absolutely have to. And the times that I do, I reemphasize, I don't want to say this. However, it depends.
That's correct.
It's true. And so that one they ended up not getting the house because the numbers were off, and it was one of those things. So my first stint was with them. So then I was like, okay, well, maybe that's not someone I want to work with, because they're very, at the time, I don't know about now, we're very much like sales heavy. Like, they got to push something, right?
Oh,
We
they still are.
uh, I don't know.
Guaranteed everybody.
I don't.
Especially now, simply because the volume is not there
Yeah.
from what they're used to. And nobody likes to go backwards in sales.
Yeah, I don't. I haven't closed Lennar home to date, mainly because the clients just don't like them.
Yeah.
However, so we've had different stints. What, one builder that didn't want to give us back our earnest money, even though they messed up, and it wasn't not even on the builder; it was on the rep representing the builder. And same thing, got licensed, and we were under contract with her, and she botched the deal, and they had to give up their earnest money.
Mm.
And for those who don't know, earnest money is a deposit for the house. And she's like, the client's making me pay for it. He's like, show me some mercy. We're like, no.
Mm.
And it had nothing to do with what she did before. It is our client said no. Our client said, no, I need this money.
Right.
So it's like, the money you took from my VA client years ago, you just had to repay.
Wow.
So it's like things like that, right? So we had a few stints here and there. For the most part, though, builders are awesome. The reps are awesome. Sometimes, using the builder lender, is a better option. They're awesome. I rarely have an issue.
Mhm.
So when we have the issues, it's like you're going out of your way at that point to have problems.
Right.
And with us, I'm not saying this to brag, but we've helped out hundreds of families year over year. We want nothing else more than to build a relationship with you.
Yeah.
So when we have family 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 100, we can say, Bob, I love Bob. Everyone loves Bob.
Right.
Bob takes care of everyone. And our clients, before they see Bob, they know, hey, these are the incentives. They send us the incentives. This is the flex cash they have. We disclose it.
Right.
Look, I'm not keeping anything because I know from back in the day that reps were, had their favorites
Sure.
in the industry, and they would give them unrepresented buyers, and they would kick back. And
Mhm.
I'm very well aware of all that.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, the flex cash is 10,000, but we'll just tell the client there's 5. We get to split the other 5. I know about all that stuff. I've never played that game. Even when there was bonuses with builders, I would pay for clients refrigerators, blinds, garage door openers, and we would disclose. I would tell them, hey, Texas is a disclosure state. You're going to see how much my broker is getting. So I don't want you to feel like I'm pushing you into getting anything. So
Mhm.
if I can take care of you in any way, I am going to,
Right.
if I can. So that's
And
why
that breeds value within what your services and what you provide to your consumers.
right.
Yeah.
And I've always been like that. My friends who sell us cars are the same way. I've always appreciated that because even though I'm not selling something, I can't help and change people's perception of me
Right.
because they might still at the core of what they believe think I'm selling something.
Yeah.
When I know I'm not. However, that's why I like to disclose, hey, here's what's going on. Because
Sure.
I want them to trust me. Right. So that being said, the situation that came up recently in San Antonio. So we had the way the story starts. There's a couple that we met at an open house years ago.
So are you getting into the situation?
Yeah,
Okay, guys. So now there was a conversation or a post that Josue put out on Shift Talk that got a lot of attention, and rightfully so, based on the dialogue that was in there. I personally made a comment on there saying, hey, if you're not willing to tell us who it is, in fear of maybe not making a commission or something along those lines, why waste our time with bringing this concept up? Because it's not necessarily helping anybody. But I think from your aspect, you were trying to get different perspectives in that situation. So
right,
if you can take us through what took place, the stuff behind the post
right,
and
right.
what actually happened, go ahead and articulate yourself. Take us through that journey.
So Scott has told me before, and it stuck to me that there's always 3 sides to every story: their side, the other side, and the truth.
Mhm.
Right. So I never want to post off emotion. I made that post, which I'll break down in a little bit, to grant awareness to people to make sure that if you don't have everything buttoned up, button it up.
Yeah.
Right. Because like I said, I haven't had these types of issues in such a long time.
Right.
So the way this started, back to like our clients, we get married to them, right? Is we met this couple in 2021 when they tried to buy one of our listings,
Okay.
and they were cash buyers. They lost a multiple offer situation. However, they were a couple that we got along great at the open house. I mean, they're a sweet couple. I mean, they like I can see our dogs living here with us. They love the house. Veteran clients. I love helping veterans. That's the kind of like if I can help them out, I'd love to. Um, and so they ended up buying another house in the same neighborhood. Years later, we're doing an open house again in that neighborhood, and they walk in at the end. Like we did 12 to 4. They show up at 4, and I was like, oh my gosh, like it's been years.
Yeah.
How are you guys "Oh, you're doing great." We bought a house with a pool. We don't like the pool. We're trying to downsize, get a different kind of house. Um, can you help us sell our house and then buy another one? It's like, why not? Mind you,
I'm your guy.
right. Well, we already connected years ago.
Yeah.
And this is like a family reunion. So
Mhm.
I'm excited and they're excited. And so we meet, we go to this whole thing. So I asked them, hey, from the last time we tried selling your house, what didn't you like? Well, we were going to buy a house with MI Homes in Everly Estates.
Mhm.
It's like China Grove area, and I'm familiar because my mom likes it there.
Sure.
Half acre lots, all that stuff. Like, however, they recommended that we use their preferred realtor. I won't say their name because they're great people. So
Sure.
nothing to do with them. Preferred realtor, and they're going to rebate commission. So we hired them to sell our house, and it didn't work out. So I asked, well, what didn't you like? Well, they weren't really on top of our listing. They kind of just put the sign up front, and I said, well, yeah, because you're kind of doing kind of an a la carte at that point. They're giving you a discount. They're making money from the builder.
Mhm.
Like the real winners, and this is my opinion. I could
Right.
be wrong. Is them. The builder is the one winning here,
Sure.
right?
Sure. They're
So
having somebody discount their commission to bring them the buyer, and they're also providing less of a commission on the outside. So I totally, yeah,
yeah,
I
so
agree
I
with
mean,
you.
and this is all to help the builder.
Mhm.
So but they didn't like anything about the process. So I said, well, it's different when you hire us. The pricing is definitely different. However, we're gonna do the full service on the listing. We'll virtually stage all that stuff. And on the buy side, I'm gonna walk you through when you build on the things to pay for and not pay for to save you the most amount of money. I'm gonna get taken care of. And anything that you want to get done extra on the house, if I can get it done for you for less outside, will help you. And they like our stuff. We have an interior design company also,
Okay.
and they loved our stuff. So I said, well, let's just get the big stuff with them, right? The things that are on warranties,
Mhm.
and then the design center we can just skip it if we can, right? That's kind of where that conversation started, and they love the fact that we're gonna do. I don't want to call it hand holding, but we were doing a very much a full concierge 5-star experience for these clients, right?
Right.
We like to spend time with them, take them to lunch, dinners, coffees, and we like to do all that to get to know them, to figure out what move means the most to them,
Yeah.
right? So we go through all this conversation and work and prep. They sign the buyer's rep and they go, "Hey, what are your thoughts on MI homes?" I said, "Well, we used to sell a ton of them, a lot of their houses back when they had more communities. Joanne King, which is at Perry now, she was our go-to there. And then this guy named Ola, who's now at Beezer Homes, used to be our guy there, but we sell a ton of their stuff.
Sure.
And there's numbers to prove that. So
Yeah.
that's not even like fluff, right? At some point, we were their preferred listing agents. We listed all their homes
Gotcha.
and it just didn't work out. So we decided not to like list anymore. It just wasn't worth it for us. So we did. So we were the preferred lenders, gave them a ton of business, and our perception on the builder was great. They
Sure.
At that time, they built one of the more up to date houses for the price.
Sure.
I love their product. So when they said, "Hey, so we're thinking about different areas. What are your thoughts about the builder?" I said, "The builder's awesome. Have you heard of Everly Estates?" Like, well, it's funny you say that because that's actually where we went under contract over a year ago on this one house. I was like, awesome, let's do it. It's a great area. So they went on their own to go see the house like super late in the day.
Okay.
And they said, but don't worry, we're not gonna contract anything until you're here. So I told them, hey, don't worry about it. If I can't go, my other agent, Isaac, he'll go with you.
Mhm.
So they ended up going like after hours
Okay.
to go just kind of preview the area. I guess the sales rep was there. I can't remember if she showed them the house or anything, but point is that they went back the second time and Isaac went and they were ready to pull the trigger on a lot, which mind you, whenever a neighborhood is on a closeout, and again, if I'm wrong, I no one likes to be wrong more than me. If I'm wrong, tell me. Most builders that I've dealt with, when they're on a closeout neighborhood, they discount
Mhm.
things, right? They're trying to take advantage of them by charging a lot premium on a lot that had drainage in it, another lot that backed up to like a kind of a bunch of a mess back there, and then another lot that backed up to the main road.
Okay.
And so I told them, I said, there's nothing premium about any of that. When it comes down to resale time, which even if you say you won't sell, if you did,
Mhm.
that's a hard sale in itself.
Right.
So they ended up agreeing. They took Isaac. They wanted to make a decision on a lot, and they told him flat out, "Hey, you're not getting paid." Right? So Isaac calls. He goes, "Hey, man, they're saying we're not going to get paid." I'm like, why? Well, because they came a year ago, not with the realtor. They were
Right.
assigned
Oh,
the
wow.
realtor,
Okay. Okay. From
right?
the builder.
From the builder,
Yep.
right? Because they're saying, "Oh, it's because you weren't there originally." Well, neither was the other realtor.
Right.
He was just assigned, right? So I told Isaac, you know what? Let me figure this one out, right? Let me just kind of process what you're telling me.
Sure.
And she said, no, you're not getting paid. I have to go through upper management, see what they say, because yeah, you're just not getting paid. And then she was pushing our buyer to signing the contract. And they said, we're not signing the contract unless they're getting taken care of because they're doing all this work. And she told them, like, realtors are useless on the builder side. You don't need them for new builds, which is false. And he had even said, he's like, well, I want to take him with us to the design center to help us out. Oh, they're not allowed in the design center. It's
Whoa.
like, whoa. If there's hours of operation 9 to 6, I could walk in.
Yeah, absolutely.
I could be
In addition, I don't. I think it's very odd that a builder who is relying upon realtors to bring them business
mhm.
is uh, speaking these kind of words into
Yeah.
existence in the sense that you're biting the hand that feeds you, but then the logic behind it to say that a realtor is not necessary is asinine, in
It
my
is.
opinion, simply because you need to have a buffer there. You need to have representation. You need to have a third party, you being the realtor,
Mhm.
to be on your side. The builder,
Right.
they're on their side.
Right.
Period.
Exactly. And they know that because I educated them on that before
Yeah.
they even went in the first place. And like the person in charge, her name's Jacqueline. We've dealt with her before.
Right.
You know, she knows who we are. And the rep just oh well, they don't really give us business like that. I don't know why they're saying they give us business. It's like this lady must have been new. I'm not really sure. And again, I have zero ego here at all.
Regardless of whether you've given them business or not prior to this. Let's say I'm an agent that has never done business with this builder before, and I'm representing these buyers, bringing them to you to see the home. You're the fiduciary cause, or I'm sorry, you're
Procuring.
the procuring cause
Mhm.
of this
Mhm.
transaction
Mhm.
in itself. Whether it was they came in on their own a year ago and contracted, times change, prices change, homes change.
Mhm.
People's if that contract was terminated, there is no contract anymore, to my understanding.
No, it's true. Yeah, there's no contract, and I was so confused because we have everything buttoned up on our end. So she essentially goes, does all that. He calls me, so we confront her about it. We're like, "Why would you say that?" Oh, I never said all that. So my client just made all that up. That's kind of odd.
It's
That
basically what she's saying. If she didn't say that, then your client made this stuff up.
no, exactly. So then finally, Scott talks to Jacqueline.
And it's difficult for you to get to the bottom of something like this with your customer because you don't want to ruffle any feathers. You don't want to make the transaction about you. Um, and you don't want to make this transition experience journey for the customer any less exciting and enticing than it should be.
Right.
And this is almost a distraction from that process.
Oh, it is. And the thing is that whole thing happens. She gets confronted. She denies it. Jacqueline finally talks to Scott. Says no, Scott. The other realtor was on it. And so during that
And
whole
we're talking the other realtor from a year ago.
yeah, so the other realtor, so Jacqueline is the manager for MI. The
Mhm.
other realtor had, I mean, they already canceled a long time ago. They have
Right.
absolutely
But
nothing.
that's who they were trying to give the commission to.
Yeah.
Wow.
So this is where it got interesting again, right? Because so the client, he's smart. Older military man. He's very very smart. Him and his husband, very intelligent folks. They're very affluent, and they say, fine. Well, and if you're not going to pay them, fine. They give me the discount. Well, we can't do that. So then he was like, "What can I use?" And I'll say this company because the ethics and morals are on point. He said, "What can I use? Move Up America." And he said, "Yeah." She said, "You can use Move Up America." So he calls the guy and goes, "You have a rep signed? Yeah, we can't help you. Like, just work with your realtor." So I was like, "Man, I
So you
love
already had a buyer's rep at this point.
everything signed."
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah. So the
Okay.
guy goes and calls Move Up America. He goes, "Well, you have a buyer's rep. We can't help you." Which I like
Mhm.
that he told him that because that helps me even have even more respect for those guys. Because like I said, at the core of what we do for a living, we're still people. We can still hang out and be friends, have a coffee,
Right.
right? So then they say no. So then he goes, "Well, fine. Can we use the preferred realtor then?" Yes. So
Mm.
then he asks, "Well, why?" Because they never showed us the house.
Right.
So finally, we get to the end of this. I'm already like upset. Everyone on shift talks blowing me up.
Sure.
And the reason why I didn't post it was because it's not that I was never going to say anything. I was going to say something regardless.
It wasn't
I
resolved
just
yet.
right. I wanted to see the end.
Yeah.
What was the end of it?
What are they going to do and what is their final thoughts? Then I can take action. And I understand why
Right.
that took place.
Right. Because I've never liked whenever people like don't name drop builders. I'm like, I need to know who to protect myself from. Right.
Right.
And so that happens, and then they finally say, yeah, we'll allow you to be put on the contract. And this is the next thing that I was like, what the heck? The caveat is that, and their rules are, we had to list their house within 7 days of signing that contract. Mind you, they're building from dirt. Our average days on the market are, I think, like 30 something,
30
like
some odd
32
days. Yeah,
days.
so they would have been out of a home just to
months.
satisfy when the home hasn't even begun.
Right.
Now, that was per the lender, I would
No.
imagine.
For MI Homes.
Per MI Homes, which was given direction from their lender, I would imagine.
No. Here's the best part. They own their house free and clear.
Oh, Lordy Jesus.
They bought it cash. They can finance the house. They qualify. But they're like, just because they know the house is there, like, you know what? You have to list the house in order to build with us. So my thing is, so what happens whenever I sell it? Hey, buyer's agent who's buying this house, we got to have you on a lease. We got to allow ourselves to give our client a lease back for 3 months. It just didn't make
even
sense.
though the offer in itself is non-contingent upon selling this home. So where was, I guess, the decision maker from MI Homes in this, or was it the frontline person as the sales rep that was not going to upper management and handling on their own?
She tried to handle it
Because
on her
that's what
own.
I feel is happening is the sales rep was trying to handle it all on their own
Yeah.
without going to upper management, because if upper management gets involved, it's going to go against what she has already or he has already laid out, essentially,
Yeah.
making them look a little silly.
Well, it was upper management. I mean, at the end of the day, like I can't, as upset as I was, I can't blame her because at the end of the day, she's the rep taking directions from upper
So
management.
that is the new direction in which
Right.
they are going.
Right. So
Until the market shifts and they have to be your best friend again.
exactly. So upper management eventually said yes, and we figured it out, but then they gave us stipulations. Right. So my whole thing was, if at the end of the day you were gonna let us help them out anyways, why even go through this whole thing?
Correct.
Why all the extra like comments and side talk? Like, what's the point of all that stuff? Like, I'm one of the ones that fights for what's right,
Right.
and I was never going to stop. Luckily it could have panned out for us, but you know what happens at the end? Our client's like, well, if it's already this tough now, how do you think it's going to go during the process? And I told them, honestly, it's probably going to get worse because usually the beginning is where they try to massage you and like, oh yeah, sure,
Right.
you know what? I always hear like they're going to build this beautiful amenity center that never gets built, right?
Yeah.
It started off rough, and that was one of the things that I said, how many realtors would have just been like, well, dang, okay. And then that preferred realtor would have had a deposit in their account, like, oh, how did that get in there?
So I wonder if it was this a change of regime that took place at MI Homes, because I've heard good things about MI Homes. We've done a lot of their turn downs, and I don't think any builder should be taking this kind of stance on anything in a market that we're in, that we need to continue to sell homes. They need to continue to build homes.
Yeah.
It's a necessary evil that needs to take place because we've got to supply the market with the demand or the inventory, the supply that is being demanded at.
Yeah. I don't know, man, because I love MI Homes.
Yeah.
And even to this day, I'd still recommend it at my home. If our client said, hey, they have a neighborhood that just opened up, I'll take them there.
Sure.
I like the builder. It's just like this process was just so weird to me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand. Like, you have a good house. The area works for our client. Why are we making this difficult? How many other agents would have just been like, well, sure, I guess. Sorry. I guess I'll work for free.
Scott was involved in this situation.
Yeah.
What did he have to say to you in way of advice, in way of and I can't ask you to, what did Scott think? No. What advice did he give you? What was the perspective of that in moving forward with this situation?
He had just told me, because he has a great relationship with a lot of people. So he said, let me just talk to her and figure this out. So just sit tight and figure this out. And that's what he did. I mean, he figured it out. We're able to make it happen. Our clients weren't comfortable at the end of the day, so we didn't do it.
So
but
your clients didn't move forward with that home?
No, because they're like, I don't like how this whole thing went down. Because here's the thing: if our clients would have paid us, which is totally up to them, then the go-to realtor would have still got paid. The builder would have still, whatever deal they got would have still happened, and then our client would have come out of pocket. So it's like the client isn't winning here,
right?
At all. That's why people always like crack all these jokes about different reps and all this stuff, and it's I'm not gonna say like this is gonna happen forever, never, never. No, I'm sure I'll still have a buyer for them in the future.
Sure.
It's just stuff like this, especially in today's market where they have options, is not only is it unethical from a business standpoint, it's really dumb.
Yeah, and I think the toughest, saddest, confusing part to this is this recent NAR settlement does not apply to any of this because the builders are not a part of NAR.
Right.
So therefore, the new regulation that could or could not come out in regards to having to remove commissions from the MLS and your marketing, et cetera. I don't believe that the builders have to abide by that at all.
No.
So,
And I never cared about the commission too, man. Like I'm telling you, If it paid
Here's the
bonus,
principle.
great.
Absolutely.
You know, if it was one of those, hey, you only get paid this much. I mean, whatever. It is what it is. You know, because we've always been relationship based. We've taken a dabble at online leads, and it just never works out for us for whatever reason.
Right.
Maybe because we don't know how to do it right. We've always been very much about doing events, pop buys, loving on our clients, all that stuff. So yeah, maybe the this builder was only paying us this much, or the pre-owned home, whatever. But we were very confident that they refer us business. Even on the listing side, there's been times where our clients were so upside down that I had to do it for free.
Right.
And I've had to tell the client, just look, the only thing I'm asking you is after you get your keys or you sell your house, so you get your next step going, just do your best to find me someone that could use my services.
There you go.
Please.
Yeah.
And it always happens that way. Like my dad's landscaping business in California grew in a time where there was no social media. There was really no phones, no tech. He drove his little Tacomas to work. He didn't have fancy trucks either. All it was his hard work. It pretty much he would under promise, over deliver. If he said he was going to do something, he did it. He was very learning based.
Mhm.
I want to learn something new so I can just do it myself.
Yeah.
Right. So I can get the job done and give the client the best experience ever. That was his whole thing since I was little. When we moved to San Antonio, he retired. Guys like him will never retire. Guys
Yeah,
like us
yeah.
will never really retire.
You're right.
We'll stop doing loans, but then we'll do something else,
Yeah.
right? That's how we're built. So whenever he came to San Antonio, he was like, I guess I'll do landscaping for fun. And then he ended up getting a brand new route. So he had houses. I mean, it's just one of those things like when you have a dad like that gives you great work ethic, and a
Sure.
mom that I had that was very nurturing, loving, and understanding, like you kind of pair those two things together, clients will go out of their way to go find you business.
Absolutely.
'Cause
You
it-
are correct.
Because they're gonna say, wow, like they just did it.
I'm not going to say that it's an obligation, but the feeling that you get when you close a customer, that customer also wants to be able to feel that as well when they give you someone.
Right. I just like to connect the dots. I mean, we're talking like off camera about like an artist, Gio Di Surita. I was there since day one. Artist that I just saw that's not new, Trebla Art, my photographer buddy Josh Huskin, who's humongous. Like, there's something more that I love to see that growth. And even if I had a tiny part, like I paid for that one art piece, I paid for
Yeah.
that one photograph because I shared it. I want to have something to do with your success, and that's really what powers me. Whenever I had a clothing brand for a little bit, and I stopped it whenever the one thing, I stopped everything and did nothing but real estate.
Mhm.
The one thing was the best book ever that I read.
Yeah.
And
Same here.
I stopped everything. And my wife, I remember we would do these events, we sell a bunch of stuff. She'd say, man, all these kids are always asking you for all this advice, and you're just giving them all the sauce. Like, you're giving it all away. Someone told me once, the game is sold, not told. And I asked him, what does that mean? He said, it means that you got to charge people for what you know. And at first I was like, well, I guess that could make sense. And then I was like, but that's not how I'm built. It's weird. There's people who make careers out of this, and I'm happy for them.
Right.
I couldn't give you advice and tell you, hey, Mark, here's the invoice for that 1 hour.
Right.
I'm not built like that, So when we had our clothing brand, we had kids who didn't have a company. The next time we go to Houston or Dallas, they go, hey, Josue, I have my brand, I have my own booth, And I'd love to see that.
Yeah.
Transitioning into real estate, I love seeing builder reps that got started, they're brand new. They become our go-tos. They make a whole career and a living off of not just us,
Sure.
but being able to refer them out. Same thing goes for the car salespeople or managers. Like, I really do get fulfillment out of helping people really get to where they want to be. If these people, and they can have their argument, if these people who were trying to do what they did knew me, my wife, and met my baby, and I would tell them, hey, what you were doing wasn't to take away food from this happy baby.
Mhm.
And I maybe wouldn't be able to afford diapers or wipies. Like, how does that make you feel?
Right.
That's what you were going to do? Because you weren't doing anything to me.
Right.
Like, bro, when I was,
I'm gonna keep going.
bro, Gary Vaynerchuk, he said it, and I stuck with it. He ate croak
Yeah.
the whole way through it. He always said, be in love with the process. And I'm very much in love with my process.
No, and I think that you're onto something that has been adopted by many. Look at this show, for example.
Right.
Every person that has been on this show thus far is adopting of that concept. We are giving as much as we possibly can. We're not here to give any kind of fluff. We're here to help others not step on the same landmines that we have before.
Mhm.
Why? Because we want to see others succeed. by doing so, it also helps our paths, especially if we happen to come in contact with someone that has taken some of this advice, taken some of these nuggets and applied them. And it makes everybody else's job
Easy.
not easy, but the right way.
Right.
It puts it on the train or the track that we're all moving versus these road bumps and going this way, like your instance with MI Homes. That went like this when it could have went like this.
Yeah, we would have already been under contract.
Correct.
You know, I'm on the same boat, man. I mean, whatever I learned in my life and that helped me really grow as a person, I want everyone to be on the same path.
Right.
You know, I don't know. That whole situation kind of stressed me out a lot because of the same reasons of like, hey, man, we had it down.
Yeah.
Like it was done. It was a done deal, and now it's not back to the drawing board, but now the clients feel they can't trust them anymore. So now they're like, well, let's look somewhere else. Even though that was perfect,
Yeah.
I don't trust them anymore. I want to go somewhere else, and that's just something I don't.
Well, definitely information and education is the new currency. And can you put a dollar amount on it? Sometimes it's more valuable than it costs, and sometimes it's cheaper than it costs. But at the end of the day, I believe it's something that only the experts are willing and able to share simply because they do not have the fear of somebody taking that advice and it affecting them in any kind of way.
Right.
So I believe that's what you're doing today is sharing your story, not saying don't go to MI. You're just saying this is how this situation was handled. This is how it could have been. And this is what you guys need to look out for.
Yeah, that's
Truly.
it. I mean, they have a great product. Their design center is beautiful.
Yeah.
Nothing bad to say. It's the same thing with the Lennar thing. Like, yeah, have I had my stints? Yeah, but I'm not gonna say, hey, the number I think number 2 company in the world for builds. I'm not gonna say they are terrible. I mean, they're number 2 for a reason.
Exactly.
I mean, whether I like them or not. I mean, they're doing something right, and I'd love to have coffee with their CEO and see what they're doing.
Of
you know,
course.
that's it, man. It's all it is. You know, I like to keep my life as simple as I can. Ever since I went to I did anger management in 2017, around there, and 2018, and after that, man, I just learned, bro. Once you learn how to manage those emotions of like anger and stress and all that, which is normal, everyone gets. Once you learn how to manage all that stuff, bro, like life's not. It can get complicated, but it's really not that complicated.
So I got this right here.
The rocket scientist.
Yes, sir. People will walk in here and they'll say, why do you have that? I mean, you're not a rocket scientist. I know. And neither is this.
Yeah.
Meaning, let's not make it more complicated than it needs to be.
I agree.
That's just a reminder to go, hey, let's keep it simple. We don't have to overcomplicate things. What is the end goal? What is the path to get there? Let's jump on that path instead of going the detour route, so to speak.
Yeah. We have a deal right now. The lender's stressed out. I'm like, chill. We're on the list side. Like, relax.
If it happens to fall apart, give us a holler.
I will. I promise you I will. But I always feel like just give me a plan.
Yeah.
That's it. It's really not.
Set the expectations. So Josue, dude, that's some good information for the folks out there. And I'm appreciative of you sharing that with me today. Is there anything else that you want to give to the audience, give to the folks out there? Maybe it's Shift Talk directly, your group, anybody you want to say thank you to, anything like that. But now's your time, brother.
Well, thanks to you first and foremost for having me on here.
Of course.
Just
hopefully we can do this again as well on another topic that you.
Yeah. I mean, I'll just say this, and one of the things that I've been focusing a lot on is I do follow the economy a ton. I look at buyer behaviors, I see what they're buying, what they're not buying, and one of the things that I've noticed the most is people are too prideful to get help. I've had a lot of clients, contractors, and stuff fall to depression or drug addictions or whatever the case is. The market's not what it used to be. It's very tough for a lot of people. All I'm going to say, and it will help me out, honor your family. Just no matter what's going on, just honor your family, God, family, business, always. And we'll get through this. So I know a lot of us are trying to get this information to try to better our lives all over again. Just keep honoring your family, keep God first, and we'll make it out of this.
That's a solid message. Again, I really appreciate it. And I'm looking forward to seeing your journey continue, brother.
Let's go.
Regardless. So those of you out there, I'm hoping that you got something out of this. We're not saying don't go to MI. That's not what we're saying at all. This is kind of just like a news flash, update, bulletin. Be mindful. Know that if you are the procuring cause of a situation, make sure that you took the steps prior to CYA.
Exactly. Yeah.
There you go. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we will catch you on the next one. Welcome to Key Factors Podcast, where knowledge meets ambition in the fast-paced world of real estate and mortgage. I'm your host, Mark Jones, bringing you the latest insight, trends, and expert advice to navigate this dynamic property market. In each episode, we dive deep into the heart of the industry, dissecting market movement, exploring investment strategies, and unlocking the secret to real estate success. Whether you're a seasoned professional, an aspiring investor, or simply looking to stay ahead of the curve, this is the ultimate guide to making informed decisions in the world of property and real estate. So grab a seat and let's uncover the key factors that make all the difference. Welcome to Key Factors Podcast. Let the journey begin.